Okay, I'll be your master of ceremonies today. My name is Ed Leafdale. I'm a member of VFW Post 3908, Veterans of Foreign Wars. I'm going to call the order. Honor guard. We're going to say the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched, silently streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you. I'm having a heck of a time up here. It's like leaves all over the place. I'd like to introduce our special guest, and that would be Congressman Mike Bishop. Please come up to the stand. Congratulations, too.
Thank you. Appreciate it. First of all, thank you all for being here today. It's really a great honor for me to be in my hometown, to see my friends and neighbors, a lot of family members, in fact, here to honor our nation's veterans. I've really had a great opportunity serving the United States Congress, and I want to thank you for the opportunity to serve another 2 years in that capacity. It's just incredible for me to have that opportunity. Thank you. It is my most profound honor to celebrate America today, especially after a very contentious election season where we were reminded, but for the sacrifices of our nation's veterans, we would not have any rights, especially not the right to vote on the direction of our country. We must never forget how blessed we are to live in a nation unique to the world that embraces democracy, liberty, and freedom. We live in a place where we can speak our minds and truly share our opinions, even though we might not agree with each other, without fear of persecution or even imprisonment. Our founding fathers had a real vision for this nation, and that vision is what makes us different, and it's what makes us great. Every single one of us here today is living proof of that fact. But that great republic, this great republic, would not be what it is today without the selfless individuals like our veterans who have defended her through the years. Today, young adults choose to enter the service. They put on a uniform, and take on the awesome responsibility of protecting our country. In years past, many young men were enlisted into the draft, but they did so without hesitation and without reservation. Whether it's time spent away from loved ones or the physical and mental impact of war, our veterans have paid a tremendous price to preserve what we have here today in our way of life. These veterans are real American heroes. And while we can't fully repay them for their sacrifice, we can do our level best to show them our gratitude. And that's exactly what we're doing here today. Since being elected to the United States House of Representatives, I've had the great honor to publicly thank our nation's veterans for their sacrifices and their service. I have attended on many occasions services at Walter Reed Hospital to visit with our wounded warriors. I've attended ceremonies like this. I've even had the honor of attending the World War II memorial ceremonies in Washington, D.C., where many of our World War II veterans are flown in to attend the service. I have to tell you that many of whom are unable to walk, yet they get up that morning and most of them have their uniform on, and all of them salute their fellow warriors at this event. And I will also say, those that could not stand up at this event demanded to be helped to stand up during our nation's national anthem. I also have the honor of paying tribute to our nation's Vietnam veterans. I do so with these, we have a Vietnam commemorative opportunity honoring the 50th anniversary of the Vietnam War for their services. Also honoring the families and those missing still in action. All of these experiences are experiences that will be forever etched in my mind. The faces of the men and women, their stories, their service remind me of why I'm proud to be an American. Every year on Veterans Day, we set aside time to honor our heroes' sacrifices. Their immeasurable courage, determination, and dedication. This is something that we should do every single day of the week. We especially remember today those who made the ultimate sacrifice to defend our great land. They remind us every day that freedom is not free. And it was Ronald Reagan who once said that democracy is only one generation away from extinction. And in fact, that it's up to us, every generation, to preserve this great country and this great democracy. So from the bottom of our hearts, and on behalf of a grateful nation, we honor our veterans and their families for dedicating their lives to making our country its very best. These brave men and women fought for us, and now it's our duty to remember them and fight for them. And I want you to know, as you're a member of the United States Congress, I will always make this my priority. Thank you again for being here today. God bless our veterans, and God bless the United States of America.
I'd like to introduce now our Mayor of Rochester Hills, Brian Barnett.
Could you do me a favor? I would appreciate your recognition of a really good friend of mine, someone that no longer works for the city but continues to be one of our all-time best ambassadors, Mr. Ed Leafdale. Good morning, everyone. I know it's windy, and I certainly want to thank you for being here today and appreciate your attendance here on a very special day in the city of Rochester Hills. And on behalf of City Council President Mark Tisdale, Councilman Jim Kubasita, the entire City Council, and the 75,000 residents of Rochester Hills, we welcome you to the place here in our community where we honor and remember our veterans. You know, I'm always humbled when I'm in the presence of veterans, as I was this morning at the community house for breakfast, because if you just stop and listen to some of the stories, you realize you're among some of the bravest, smartest, and most selfless people you'll ever meet. I recognize that every time I'm privileged to be around those who've served. And I'm also incredibly proud of our community here in the greater Rochester area, and specifically in Rochester Hills, for the way we recognize those men and women, those heroes in our midst, as we do right here on this point. 19 years ago, in 1997, that several members of our community, some of them in the crowd today, took the leadership to create this place where we could join together, as we do several times each year, to remember those heroes. And this park continues to evolve. If you look at the clock over your shoulder there to our south, that clock was added last year, and just last month, that clock received a statewide award for the Keep Michigan Beautiful organization for one of the most beautiful new projects in the state of Michigan. Pretty cool. And throughout this park, as you stand around and walk through, you'll see over 3,000 bricks that have been engraved, many with the names of those in our community who've served. Those bricks remain a constant reminder of the amount of heroes this community has produced and continues to honor. This park, of course, is made possible by the generous contributions and the vision of many in this community who recognize that it's not just words that matter when honoring our veterans, it's actions as well. You know, our country is a diverse range of people, ideas, and cultures. And on a day like this, we are truly reminded that we are blessed with this ability to express those exact differences, to fight for those differences, and protect those beliefs because of the men and women engraved on these bricks around us. This is, in my opinion, the greatest nation in the world. And we cannot and will not forget those who protected this country and sacrificed their lives for our freedoms. You know, we witnessed this power of American expression just this week, as the Congressman mentioned, as the men and women of this community and this country, rich and poor, urban and suburban, men and women, north, south, east, and west, exercised their voice, a voice given to them by the nation's veterans to choose a new leader. And a transition of power in the most powerful nation in the world and in the history of our planet will occur peacefully. It is on this day that communities across the United States remember the immeasurable burdens borne by so few in the name of so many. Today we think with good thoughts, with prayers and heartfelt well wishes for those men and women currently serving overseas. And we come together to honor all who have worn America's uniform, many of you in the crowd today. And we also today support and stand with the families that stand next to the men and women in uniform. We know your sacrifice is oftentimes just as great. Unfortunately, words will never be able to adequately express our gratitude. So in a meager attempt, on behalf of the city of Rochester Hills, our residents, our community, and all who've gathered here today, thank you, veterans, for your selfless service to country. May God bless you. May God bless the city of Rochester Hills, and may God continue to bless the United States of America. Thank you.
I want to introduce my grandson, Jaden Lucenti. And he is just starting out as a wolf, or he's been 2 years in the Cubs. And I guarantee you, someday he'll be an Eagle Scout out here as well, won't you? He was going to help me with the Pledge of Allegiance earlier, but he just got here. So maybe next year. All right, buddy? Thank you. Okay, I would like to have the representative from the DAV come up to give us a speech. Tony, you're out there. She was a last minute fill-in. Thank you, Tony.
Thank you, everyone, for being here. There's a lot of other places you could be, and you chose to be with us, so we thank you. I'm not going to bore you with a bunch of long speeches because it's cold out here and I don't have enough hairspray on. So I would like to let you know, though, that the Golden Corral restaurant chain, they have partnered for many, many years with the Disabled American Veterans, and every year they have Military Appreciation Monday. It's always the Monday after Veterans Day. Therefore, it'll be this coming Monday, the 14th. So if you care to take part and get your free meal, veterans, then you come on down to the Golden Corral. It's down on Hall Road at Hayes. If you've passed the Lowe's, you've gone too far. They will have an honor guard, 21 gun salute, and a presentation done right at 5 o'clock. If you are still in line at 8 o'clock, though, they will still feed you. So they're very great supporters of the work that the veterans organizations do, the DAV in particular. And we'd just like to say, please, you guys have earned your free meal. Enjoy today, and come on out on Monday. Thank you.
I don't know if you've seen all the medals on her chest, but she also is airborne. So, quite a lady. At this time, I'd like to have John Benzie come up, the VFW commander of Post 3908.
Good morning. We're going to make this short because it's a little bit chilly out here. I'm John Benzick. I am a veteran and presently serving as commander of Post 3908. Veterans Day, November 11, 2016, is a day of remembrance. Those of us who stand here today acknowledge the men and women who gave their lives for our freedom, as you all remember. 98 years ago, on November 11th, 1918, at 11 a.m., an armistice was signed to end World War I. In honor of this event, the day became Armistice Day. In 1954, the day was named Veterans Day to honor the doughboys in World War I and World War II veterans. We remember all this. Count the number of wars, campaigns. There are a total of 7 wars, 57 distinct overseas campaigns, and 6 countries of occupation. These include World War I, World War II, the Korean War, Cold War, Vietnam, the Persian Gulf, Iraq, and Afghanistan. We must also remember our women, men and women, who are presently fighting to preserve our freedom, because freedom is not free. Each one of you got up this morning that you remember to utter a silent prayer for our brave veterans, those who have died, those that are still missing, and the living. I did. Thank you very much. May God bless America.
Thank you, John. Okay, I've got just a little something I want to say. Might not be short, but anyways, today is Veterans Day, and like John said, 98 years ago, World War I had ended. The year was 1918, on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. It was the war that was supposed to end all wars. And all those doughboys are gone now. It's been 75 years since the start of World War II that they marched off to Europe and the Far East to war. Our beloved World War II veterans are known as the greatest generation. And these men and women are not almost gone as well. Most of them are in their late 90s. It's been 65 years since the Korean War, better known as the Forgotten War. These men and women faced many hardships, and they too now are in their 80-plus range of age. It's been 50 years plus since the Vietnam War. We were known as the baby boomer veterans. The Vietnam veterans and the Cold War veterans are now in their mid-60s and 70s. When we left for war, we were very young. My wife doesn't like this part. Most of us were only thinking of cool cars, rock and roll, and hot chicks. Well, 45 years later, for me, the cool cars are now four-door sedans. Our rock and roll music is now on the oldies but goodies radio. And our hot chicks are now hot grandmas. I want to leave you with this. The World War I, the World War II, the Korean and the Vietnam veteran, as well as the Desert Storm and the men and women fighting the global war on terrorism. All these veterans will tell you freedom isn't free. It's paid for in blood and death and lives. And also, I'll tell you only one symbol on earth that you could go anywhere, and I mean anywhere, that means freedom. And that's the American flag. And everybody knows it. No matter what country you're in, they recognize that flag. And I also know this to be true. You'll never see a veteran kneel in disrespect to the Pledge of Allegiance or the national anthem. For me, the only time you'll see me kneel is to our Lord God. Pray, God bless America. At this time, we'll have the wreath placement from the VFW and disabled veterans. Honor guard, and we lower the American flag. Couple closing remarks. like to thank everybody that showed up out here today. We appreciate it. That you don't forget about your veterans. There's a couple families out here right now that lost their sons that we'll never forget. We'll always recognize them in an honorable way. I would like to thank Mike Bishop, Congressman Mike Bishop, for coming out today. Our mayor, Brian Barnett, for being here as well. He has never missed a function dealing with the veterans. He comes out for everything that we do. He's a stand-up guy. Alicia Clemens for the singing of the national anthem. Thank you. I'd like to also thank the fire department for being our honor guard up here and the support they give us. The Oakland County Sheriffs, I want to thank them for all that they do to keep us safe. The Rochester Hills Parks and DPS as well for all they do. And also the veterans and residents of the Rochester Hills. I want to thank them. And one last thing I'd like to say. I had 42 great years of working for the city of Rochester Hills. And I'm very proud of that. And I do miss the work. I miss the guys, their camaraderie. And I'm going to tell you, I've matched them guys up against any city, anywhere, anytime. And let's go out and have a great day, guys. Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot about the Knights of Columbus. They come out to all these functions as well. I do apologize. Thank you, guys. Happy Veterans Day.